What's up guys? Today we're going to be showing you how to install SuperATV's full aluminum roof on this Can-Am Maverick X3 Max. So let's get right to it. So if your machine came factory equipped with a roof as well as stock brace, at this point you're going to want to go ahead and remove it. It'll be 18 or 19 millimeter nuts to take your brace off. It's very easy. Once you have your brace as well as your roof removed, we'll move on to the next step. So now that you have your brace and roof removed, you're going to find your mounts in your kit and we're going to install them to the machine. So we're just going to take our mount and slide it on our front studs. Just like so. We'll do that for the opposite side as well. So now we're going to grab our driver's side portion of our brace and we're just going to lay it on the studs, just like so. Get it lined up. Tap it down into position. Now we're going to grab the passenger side brace. So now we're on the passenger side. I'm going to do the same thing, install our brace. Right here, just from where it's touching the other side, where it fits so tightly together, you may have to grab a rubber mallet and just kind of tap down on it a little bit. So as you can see, it's such a tight fit that it might try to spring a portion of the brace up. So the best thing to do at this point is to grab your two 12 millimeter bolts out of your kit. So as you can see, the brace is such a good and tight fit that once you start to put it down, it kind of wants to spring apart a little bit. Again, just from it fitting so tightly together. So at this point, you're gonna wanna grab both of your M12 bolts. There's only two M12 bolts in the kit, and then two Nylock M12 nuts. So I'm just gonna kind of tap around until we're lined up. Once you're lined up, just get your hardware started through. Just put a nut on the back side. So now we're going to take the rest of our M12 Nylock nuts and just go through and get them all installed onto the threads of our brace. So in the kit, you're going to notice that you have 4 non-flange head Nylock nuts. Those will go up here on the front. Then the rest of the hardware will be a flange head. So now what we're going to do is go ahead and fully tighten all the hardware. You want to make sure that your roof brace is all the way down as far as it'll possibly go. So I'm kind of taking my mallet, tapping down, tightening it, and then coming over here, knock it down as far as it'll go, tighten it. And I like to pick up on this bracket a little bit. That's going to be for the roof. You just want it to kind of barely float over top the windshield. So now we're going to fully tighten the two bolts that fasten both sides of our brace together. It's going to be a 16 millimeter head 18mm nut. So now we're going to grab our 4 large clamps out of the kit and go ahead and remove the hardware. That way we can open it up. And we're going to install it to the cage so that the inserts, the threads are facing straight up, and that this thread right here is facing towards the inside of the machine, just like this. So we're going to take our clamp, lay it roughly in this area here, and we're going to install our hardware, but we're going to leave it loose enough to where we can still rotate the clamp around. So right here we can kind of wiggle it back and forth, get it to where it needs to be, so on and so forth. The larger clamps are going to go on the factory cage. So this outer portion here, this is what we're going to call the factory cage portion. And you just want to be able to rotate these, like I said. So we're going to do one here. We're going to do one about the same distance as far as being centered between this and this on the back side, and then repeat the same steps on the opposite side. Install the clamp just like that. Hardware started loosely. We can still rotate our clamp around if we need to. And then just repeat these same steps on the opposite side. So now we're going to take our foam seal out of our kit, and we're going to start right here, run it all the way across. We're going to run it right over top of our mounts that we previously installed, all the way to the opposite side. So we're going to start right here on this section. Just like this. Then once you get to this point right here, you can just tear it off. Then we're going to come to this spot right here on the rear portion of the cage and just apply our seal all the way across to the same location on the opposite side, and then remove the excess. Once you get to this point here, go ahead and remove your excess. So now what we're going to do is grab this seal out of the kit. You want to make sure that you have your roof sections oriented just like so. This will be the front. As you can see, it's angled down. The center piece is laid just like this with the lip facing towards the rear section. The rear section should have the spoiler flipped up just like so. We're going to grab our seal and apply it right next to the hole on this section, on your middle section. And you just want it to where your hardware will go through it, but just barely. Once we get to this point here, we're going to go ahead and cut off our excess. So now we're going to grab our other piece of seal here and apply it to the rearmost portion of the roof. Same thing, cover your hole up about halfway. So now we're going to take our middle section and couple it to our rear section here. So as you can see, the middle section has a lip on it. This lip needs to lay right on top. Just get them squared up, line up our holes. And then as you can see in our kit, we have already installed the washer as well as sealing washer to the hardware for you. So all you need to do is take your shortest bit of Allen headed hardware out of the kit, slide it through like that, take a black nylock nut, get it started. We're just going to continue this process for all of the holes. So now what we're going to do is couple the middle section to the front section. And we're also going to grab our side brackets here. These are threaded, so our hardware will go straight down. We're going to grab one of our longer Allens. It's longer by about 20 millimeters just to accommodate going through both sections of the roof. And then this hole right here will line up with threaded holes, just like so. So next we're going to take this hardware that has the large sealing washer on it, and it's going to install this hole and this hole on our front bracket, and then the same on the opposite side. Let's go ahead and fully tighten it. And then we're going to go through here and repeat the same process that we did on the middle section. So now we're going to grab this bracket and install it the same exact way we did on the opposite side. And same thing over here. Just like so. So now we're going to grab our small angle brackets that are in the kit, line them up with our holes. So like we have a hole here, hole there. The rest of the holes are going to need a bracket installed to them. So we're going to take our remaining Allen headed hardware. It'll be the mid-length. So you're going to have a small cutout and a large cutout. The small cutout needs to go onto the roof, and then hardware will come up through the roof. So right now we have our roof flipped, so this is the inside of the roof. So the sealing washer needs to be making contact with the outside, just as we've been installing our hardware, nothing different. All we've done is change the orientation and the angle that we were filming it at. Slide our hardware through. So now we're going to take our remaining pieces of foam and apply it from this edge all the way to the rear section of our roof, just like so. Peel, all right. And you want to leave about a 3/8 gap off of the edge of the roof. So once we get to this point here, we're just going to go ahead and remove the excess. Just like so. So at this point, your foam should be installed on your roof, and all of your brackets should be installed in the following locations: here, 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 as well as here, and then in the same location on the opposite side. So now that we have the roof laid onto the machine, we're gonna grab the rest of our clamps, take the hardware out of them, and line them up with our brackets. So as you can see, we have a bracket here. We're gonna take our clamp, loop it over top of the cage, and then just get it lined up with the bracket, and go ahead and start your hardware into the clamp. Now we're going to repeat the same steps. Take our clamp, line it up with our bracket, and start our hardware. So now we're going to install our front hardware to our front mounts, and then our rear hardware to our cage. So you should have 2 Allen-headed screws left that have the large sealing washer on them. Those are going to go into our threaded mounts on the front of our roof. Just going to go ahead and get them started. So now we're going to grab our last bit of hardware out of our kit. So as you can see, we have a long M6 Allen, a flat washer, a nylock nut, and a spacer. The spacer is going to go in between the cage and the roof. And then our hardware is going to go down through the spacer as well as through the cage, and then we'll install a washer and then our nylock nut. So now we're going to grab our short M8 Allens, install our flat washers to them, and our hardware is going to go straight through our L bracket directly into our cage clamps. Once we've done this, we'll go ahead and fully tighten all our hardware. So once you've went through and fully tightened all your hardware, that's all there is to it to install SuperATV's full aluminum roof on this Can-Am Maverick X3 Max. Be sure to check the description below for a link to pick yours up today, and while you're there, drop a like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.